Can negative entities and dark spirits harm you? The answer may surprise you. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Leap Into Your Story podcast, where you discover your inner story, break down the process, and meet others who've done it so you can leap into your own story. We interview amazing guests who provide powerful insights that inspire you to get your story told. Be sure to visit our website at leapintoyourstory.com, and while you're there, subscribe and like us via your favorite social media network. Now sit back, get ready to take some notes, and let's get started. This episode of Leap Into Your Story podcast is brought to you by Leap Into Your Story course. Visit leapintoyourstory.com, where you have a guide to get your story told.
I'm Victoria Andersen, and welcome to the Leap Into Your Story podcast, where you discover your inner story, work through the process, and meet others who've done it. And in this segment, it's all about paranormal. So I am not only a podcast host, but I am also an author of 3 paranormal memoirs, working on number 4. So welcome if this is your first time. And I will be starting off this segment with a little bit of tales of terror of my own. So if you've grown up in any type of paranormal setting, spiritual setting, religious setting, we've all been taught that the unseen things can never harm you. This is the physical world. They're in the spirit world. If they're out there, they simply can't harm you. However, through my experience and through experiences of people that I have interviewed, especially my upcoming guest next week, which will be Daniel Jackson, sharing his personal story of dark entities or negative entities actually attempting to create harm. So it does happen, regardless if you believe that or not. And I will be sharing my story about that from my 3rd book, Mastering the Paradox. It is a tale that started out when I moved to New Mexico. Now, paranormal information experience has never been something foreign to me. I've grown up with it. It's been around me, and it continues well into my older age too. But shortly after I had moved into New Mexico, there was an uptick in activity. The home that I moved into, in this one, it started out with a creepy, like something's watching me. And shortly after that, there was some unexplained activity, such as doors slamming in my face, cupboard cabinets swinging open and giving me black eyes, that it's gradually started to escalate into more aggression against specifically me. One night when I was preparing dinner, my knife and my cutting board were pushed aside as I prepared other part of the meal. The knife began to bounce on the cutting board all by itself. There was no explanation. It was not near me. I didn't bang it. Just began to bounce to a point that it bounced itself off the cutting board, hit the counter, and landed on the floor. I did not think much about that. I figure, whatever, it's just trying to rattle me. I didn't care at this point because I didn't want to feed into the energy. But when I didn't give it attention, I heard the knife bouncing on the floor. So when I looked down at it, it was as though an invisible hand had taken hold of it and actually nicked my ankle and then just dropped. I still would not buy into the feeding of it and the getting my attention. Wasn't until I felt blood dripping down my foot, then I reacted and realized that something from the unseen realm had just attacked me in the seen realm. Needless to say, I wasn't real happy about it. I started a rampage of cursing. Definitely not a blessing. I know there's a school of thought saying, oh, you need to send it love. No, I wasn't having none of that crap. I went through, I cursed it. I told it if it ever tried that again, I would go and track that entity down and create havoc. I didn't know how I was going to do that, but I was going to create havoc for it. The activity eventually started to calm down. And thankfully, there wasn't too many other events like that afterwards. I mean, there was still maybe irritating things like turning on the blow dryer or playing around with the TV or making the computer connection be interrupted. But as far as knife wielding and ankle slicing, none of that happened again. So for those of you who may have had an experience and maybe not believed, comment below. I'm curious to see if anybody else has had a similar experience. Like I says, I know a friend and author that's going to be on the following podcast. He certainly has, and we're kind of curious. Have you had similar experiences with actually type of infliction of injury? Who knows, even death? In that you're aware of, you experienced, or somebody else. I'd be curious. So comment below, and until next time, we will meet again. I want to thank you for tuning into the Leap Into Your Story podcast, where you discover your inner story, work through the process, and meet others who've done it so you can be guided to your paranormal journey of story. Remember to visit our website at leapintoyourstory.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're there, subscribe and like us via your favorite social media. We are looking forward to seeing you next time here on the Leap Into Your Story podcast.
Thank you for tuning into the Leap Into Your Story podcast, where you discover your inner story, break down the process, and meet others who've done it so you can leap into your own story. Remember to visit our website at leapintoyourstory.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're there, subscribe and like to us via your favorite social media network. We're looking forward to seeing you next time on the Leap Into Your Story podcast.